Wow. You all look so beautiful on this third day, last morning of Animefest. Have you had fun so far? Yeah? Okay, awesome. We've had a great time too. I'm Yaya Han, and this was supposed to be my competitions explained panel with the slideshow and everything, but I lost my voice through the convention, as you can kind of hear. So my wonderful co-guests, they've agreed to come on with me, and we have decided to turn this into a round table because all of us have had competition experience. And so we thought it would be nice for everyone to share some of it and also tell you guys why you should consider competing and what the joys of competing are. So I guess we're going to start with some introductions. My competition experience was many years ago because I've been a professional in the cosplay industry for decades. And so it's like it doesn't make sense for me to compete anymore. I already get to travel the world. This is my job. So I sort of moved into the judge role. But I used to compete pretty heavily in the early and mid 2000s. And I've won some, so it's like I've won some national best in shows as well as international trip to go to Japan, but for vacation. It wasn't for WCS. But I know exactly like what it's like to prepare a project for months and prepare a performance and the sort of the anxiety of going on stage, but also the wonderful reward. And so yes, I'm going to pass it on now.
Hello, I am Gnomes of Be More Shonen. I'm from the UK, and I like competing. This is my confession. I have been competing for quite a long time as well, not as long as Yaya, since I did my first international in 2012, which means I qualified within the UK to compete abroad, and that was for the European Cosplay Gathering. I've done the Cosplay World Masters, I've done ICL, not ICL, Cosplay City Cup for the 1 year it ran. I've done WCS a couple of times, C4, and we have placed at WCS, and we have won in the Netherlands as well.
So I am the other half of Be More Shonen. My name is Minnie. I love bringing the costumes that I love to life and becoming them. And basically, this one introduced me to the world of competitive cosplay, and I didn't even know it existed. The idea that you could have this massive, positive, international community of people. And we first qualified for the World Cosplay Summit in 2018. Since then, we've done many contests. Currently, the UK representatives of ACWS, is that the right acronym? Yeah, which is a Bulgarian contest, but if you ever get qualified, you should definitely enter. Yes, we'll have a representative announce this today, right? Yeah, very cool. Shout out for ACWS. We will know who we're competing against. You already know. Okay, awesome. So, yeah, and that's enough about me. I will move on to my lovely friends over here.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Sub Cosplay. I've been cosplaying for many, many years. Started with the small stages, then, as my cosplay skills grew and, my performance skills grew, ended up somehow in international competition, which was the WCS. I think was my favorite one, the international one. And we've managed to place second, which was absolutely wow. I mostly compete for fun, but also like winning, I'm not going to lie. It always feels nice, but I mostly compete for fun. And what I like about performance is it surprise people. I'm into doing a wow effect on stages or doing something that I'm trying to do something that was never done before, and there's nothing better when you perform and then you do some cool trick like invisible arrow or some screen interactions, and you hear from audience they're like, wow, or whoa, and you're already performing and you hear that audience really likes it, and you're like, yeah, feels nice. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I perform. I really enjoy when what I do, that audience likes it as well.
Hello, I'm Sayaju, and I've been cosplaying like for decades as well. I've done a lot of local competitions and also like international. My very first one was Euro cosplay. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was a thing. It was like back in 2015. I feel old now. But anyway, I also done Crown Championship, which is like a competition based like all about like your craftsmanship. But I do love to do the performances because stage is where you show off your love for the character. It's not just the costume. It's how you portray that character through this, like your acts. And a recent one was WCS. We competed together. Like he said, we managed to come second. Honestly, absolutely, it was unexpected because there was so many like good teams with good performances and craftsmanship. It was like very unexpected.
So during the panel, we would love to answer some of your questions as well. So feel free to scan the QR code as Slido and put them up here. If there are competition, related questions, maybe about something you would like to do, like this is your chance. You can like get tips and tricks from the best of the best. So, I think like for us, we think that the Czechia has a really strong cosplay culture, and at Animefest, you yesterday in the international contest had not just one, not just two, but actually four international preliminaries. So that's 4 chances for someone to be selected to represent your country at an international contest and travel to another country. That is a big deal. That is very, very cool and very unique and does not happen for many other countries. So we really want to talk about the contests that are available to you and see if we can help prepare you to enter the next year or the year after. Real quick before we start, hands up if you have competed in a cosplay contest. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Hands up if you want to compete, but you're not sure how to get started. Okay, yes, this panel is for you. So we expect some questions up here from you guys. So I guess the first thing I want to ask my beautiful co-guests is, why do you compete? Like, what do you get out of it? Explain to these kids and upcoming cosplayers what they can expect if they join a competition. Like, there are so many ways to enjoy cosplay now. You can do photo shoots, you can do gatherings, like some people might be like, well, and why should I be stuck backstage all day just for a chance to go on stage for 2 minutes? So can you explain to them why?
So it's very easy to look at a competition and see a list of prizes and awards. And it's also very easy to look at that list and think, yeah, but, I might not win. I'm not going to win. I'm not good enough. I can't do that. And that's really doing contests a disservice. And it's not seeing the huge number of less visible prizes that are on offer. My absolute favorite thing about contests is being backstage for hours on end, talking to the other contestants. You have this opportunity to go up to them and see their amazing contest-ready cosplays up close. You get to learn all sorts of new techniques that you've never heard of. And when you get to an international finals, you get to hear what people are making in other countries as well, techniques that you didn't even have access to until that point. And it is such an amazing educational opportunity just to try and have a go. So if you're not confident about entering a contest because you're worried that you might not win, enter to learn, enter for the knowledge and the experience, and to see, okay, for this contest, I just want to see how prejudging works, and I'm going to learn about prejudging and get better with that. But I'm not going to stress too much about the stage part. And then the next time you think, okay, I understand prejudging now. This time I'm going to push myself on the stage to do a little bit more action and build it from there.
So for me, I was one of those people who didn't think it was possible for me to place a local cosplay contest. I remember thinking, oh, it would be really cool if I won a Comic-Con and came first place. I was really tied to that goal, but I couldn't fathom ever achieving it. And then when I met her, she was like a god to me because she's done all these cool things, traveled Europe, going on to Japan and competing in all these amazing places. And that's what I get out of competing ultimately is the community, the amazing people you meet, these guys, all of you. The reason that we're here is because competitions opened up those doors. So if you are thinking the benefits of you succeeding, if you just give it your all, far outweigh any doubt that you can think of. And that is why I would recommend you compete, because you're all cosplayers. You all have a very good community. You all have friends here that you met through cosplay. Now just imagine that on a global scale and all the amazing people that you would get to meet.
Well, after this, it's really hard to add something because I think it's the same for everybody. Just meeting new people. But I think competition is also can be really great confidence builder. For example, when I started out, I was really afraid of the stage. Even now, in front of you guys, I can stutter because I'm actually nervous, but I'm not trying to show it. But yeah, so each time you compete, I'm still nervous before the stage. But what I realized after competing for so many years that, it's the community is so supportive. You go on a stage, doesn't matter what you do, people get they enjoy what they see. You go there with your costume that you work so hard on and you're just trying to show it to the people, you're going to get a lot of support. So don't be afraid to go on a stage. Just make sure you practice before. Because, yeah, sometimes when I was performing, I didn't practice much, so there can be some awkward moments, but it's still, I think everybody had awkward moments on stages once in their lifetime, but yeah, I mean, it can be a great confidence builder as well.
So for me, entering an international competition is always about meeting different people, different culture, because they have different access to different materials, and sometimes you can learn very ancient techniques. For example, I'm very obsessed with in 2023, the Team China, they had an ancient Chinese silk technique that they use for accessories. That was so fascinating. If it wouldn't be for the competition, I would never be able to see that in person and get to know how to do all this stuff. But obviously, we come from a very small country, so for me, also going to the internationals is showing off that our country can do stuff. It's not just big wins. Our small country, we do have good cosplayers, the same as you guys. I was so surprised you have such an amazing quality of costumes and performances. Again, this was a chance for us to come here and experience different culture, different costumes. It's just fascinating all the time.
All very valid reasons why you should compete. And I just want to add that competition is actually a way for you to challenge your own skills. So it's not about winning against somebody else and beating somebody else's skills. It's actually for you to take more care in making your costume. And when I competed a lot at the beginning of my cosplay journey, I became so much better at crafting very, very fast, just within a few years. And I really owe that all to competing and trying to make the costumes nicer, not just finish nicer, but also more durable, because you don't want to take shortcuts. You want to do things the right way. And then guess what? Your stuff is going to last longer. And the last reason I'll just very quickly mention is for those who want to go into cosplay with higher aspirations. If you want to become a judge, if you want to become a guest, if you want to be a panelist at conventions, guess what? Competing is a wonderful way to get there, because we're all here because we have had accolades within the cosplay community. And my first, jobs as panelist and judge were because I won competitions. And that is still true. And these days, with social media being such a huge field and everybody having social media, it's kind of plateauing. So a way for you to set yourself apart and to stand out in the cosplay scene is to actually win a contest. So hone your skills, keep working on it, and it could really take you to a place where you will get invited to be a judge and, so on. So maybe now we should talk to them about what it's like to actually compete, if they decide to join, right? Because we have a wonderful questions up here already, thank you guys, about the pre-judging process. Huh?
Should we do a role play, a beginner versus an experienced entrance?
Oh.
My judge.
That would be great. Okay. All right. Nose wants to role play and show you what it's like to go into pre-judging. Oh my God. Okay. All right. Hold on. We need 2 microphones. We need the other microphone. Okay. So I guess I'm the judge.
You're the judge.
I'm the judge.
Okay. We're going to do 2 versions. I'm going to be the beginner to start with.
So I'm sitting here. I have my judging sheet.
And the second time, I'll be someone who's more experienced.
Hi, welcome. All right. Show me how you made your costume. All right, so how did you make this apron?
I went to the fabric shop and I got some fabric, and it was in the scrap bin. It was secondhand, so it was a little bit cheaper.
Okay, yeah,
but I thought it was a really nice pattern on it.
Tell me what technique you used to make the
So
costume.
for the edges, I used bias tape, and I attached that to the edges.
Great.
And for these, I used iron-on glue backing to keep them in place,
Fantastic.
and then I appliqued them as well.
Amazing. Can you turn around for me?
Yeah, okay.
All right. Do you mind if I look at the...
Yeah, it's okay to touch.
Thank you. That was actually an experienced answer. Yeah. So as a judge, judges will come up to you, and a good judge will not stay seated. A good judge will be on the floor. First of all, that's the sign of a good judge. And they will look at your costume up close, not to look at mistakes. We are never looking for mistakes. We are looking closely to make sure we don't miss any of the hard work you put in, any of the details that you put in. And we know it's very nerve-wracking because you only have a couple minutes. And so if somebody is not able to articulate how they made something, we want to take a close look so that we're like, oh, this is actually finished. Very nice. Look, there's a lace detail. So judges will be proactive, but what's really important is for you to know that you are always the star of the show. And if you go into pre-judging, you can start talking and tell us everything about your costume without waiting for us to prompt you.
And what I included there were a couple of very common beginner mistakes, which was, as you say, pointing out things I didn't do right, not being quite prepared for what I was going to present. But the judge is prepared for beginners, and as you can see, are very willing to guide you through it and help you. They're there to help you, and they want you to show your best.
Exactly. We never nitpick. It's always to make sure we don't miss what you did. Okay.
Ready? Okay, now I'm going to be experienced.
Hello. Oh, you look great.
This is my progress book. This shows you all my whips in progress in case I miss anything and don't cover anything.
Lovely.
So I'll start from the top, and I'm going to present down to the bottom. I started by making this headdress. I used the matching fabric for the top and for my apron here because she's a maid, and I wanted to show continuity through the costume, but also she might not have a lot of access to materials. And I added lace to the bow and to the apron as well because I wanted to add a little more decoration. I wanted it to pop more on stage. So even though it isn't technically in the reference, I thought it would add more visual interest for the stage.
Very, very cool. See? Look at that. Look at that. She's prepared. She gave me reference. She is talking. She has rehearsed what she's going to say before she comes in. So just like you rehearse what you're going to do on stage, for pre-judging, we recommend for you to also practice how you're going to talk to the judges and have a plan of what you're going to mention first and such. And because there's a time limit, I always tell people, start with the important parts. Start with the important parts, the things that you work the hardest on, the like visually, the crowning pieces of your costume, so that if you end up running out of time, you're not missing on those. A lot of people start with like their shoes or their bloomers, and I'm like, no, but I want to see this giant thing on your head. Tell me how you made that. So, anything else you guys want to add, please? All right, role-playing over. Round of applause for gnomes. Woo! Oh, that amazing. Good? Everybody happy? Should we move to the next question?
I mean, yeah, we can move to this next question. You really explained well. Like, yeah.
Okay. What are the questions? You guys, pick one, answer.
Okay, how important is the choice of a character to cosplay? It vanished! What? Okay, how important is the choice of a character to cosplay? Is it possible to be successful with a less intricate reference character, which is made very well? I actually think you're an excellent one to answer that, because it's your jam, right? So, with using this as an explanation, if anyone knows JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the references of these characters is just line work. So within that line work, she's added texture all the way through the outfit, and same with my Joseph cosplay as well. So you can take a flat image and embellish it and bring out the most of it. You don't have to. We did a panel on this yesterday. Whoever answered this question should have came to our panel yesterday. However, it's important to not go too far above the source material. Like, it still has to have the fidelity, but it is you can have a less intricate reference and build upon it and make it as complicated as your skill set and creativity allows. So, anyone else want to answer?
Want to answer another question?
Sure. I would go with the question, do judges prefer contestants to portray the characters? What? It moved? Yeah. The characters as a part of the original show, game, or in a creative, unexpected, funny way? Well, I think that will depend on the judges. Like, that's always depends on the individual. For me, I would probably love it as a judge. I love to see unexpected turns of events, but I also love if you actually portray your character correctly on a stage. It's gonna add you a lot of points. Let's say you're on a stage and you just act as a character. It's just always surprising to see. For example, yesterday there was a performance of a girl Jinx, and she acted like Jinx on stage. I think that was amazing. I was like, wow. She really acts as a character, and I think that always adds to the performance as well. But again, I also love to see funny moments as well. When let's say the show starts seriously, you act as a character, and then boom, romantic music starts or something, and then they act in unexpected ways. It's cool to see as well. You're oh, that's a different side I didn't expect to see. So it's a bit of a wow effect as well. So you're oh, I didn't expect that, but it looks good, So it can work as well.
So I would love to answer the question, role play during prejudging, yes or no. Actually, at this convention, it was my first time seeing people role playing on prejudging. Usually, you don't really have the time to do it, but here, you got a real bit of relaxed rules on the timing. But most of the prejudging, they're gonna tell you, oh, you ran out of your 5 minutes. You just don't have the time for it. But I absolutely loved it. If you get the chance to do it, do it. Maybe do it a little bit, super quickly just to show off your capability. But I loved it. It was so fantastic. It shows your love of the character. It just, sometimes you don't have this opportunity. So that's why you do it on the stage.
Oh, it's okay. I wasn't reading. Okay. How to prepare for a performance for a big cosplay that is difficult to move in? Well, the short answer is generally I'd say don't. It's very, very important to be able to move in your costume if you're being judged on performance. A lot of the international contests where it's a divide between costume and performance, it is close to 50-50 split most of the time. And that really means as much time as you're spending building your costume, you should be putting as much time and effort into your performance. They are equal partnerships in points, and there is a huge opportunity for points to be earned there. We do often see the balance is shifted with people putting more time into their costumes and haven't quite focused on their performance. So don't be that person and make the most of those points.
Do you need to speak? Are you okay to speak? Or do you want me to move it?
Okay to speak. I think, okay, so I think we want to keep answering your questions. I think I want to make sure that we maybe give a brief summary of like the contests that are available here in Chechnya, so that you guys can specifically prepare for them the next year. So maybe would one of you like to give a rundown?
Well, I'll take ECG because I think I'm the only one that's competed in it. I know you've judged it. So ECG, it once was called the European Cosplay Gathering, and it's now called the Extreme Cosplay Gathering because it's now gone global. It's not just Europe. They're opening up to countries around the world, and they're getting bigger and bigger. And this is a contest that has a really interesting element. It is on performance and costume, about 50-50 for each, but it has a mix of groups and teams. So each of the representing countries can send up to 4 people to compete on stage. And that can include a stage ninja. And this is the first international contest that included a stage ninja as an option, which is adding an entirely new dynamic to the performances on stage. So people qualify in their home country, and then they win a trip to fly to Japan Expo in Paris, which is one of the biggest events in Europe. It is huge. Gosh, how many people in the footfall do you think it is?
300,000?
About 300,000, she's quoting at me. So we have about 10,000 people at this event. So that gives you an idea of the scale. It has an amazing stage and light setup, and with a live audience who literally come to watch the contest of about 15,000 people. Now, I know that sounds scary, but when you're on the stage, because it's so well lit, you actually can't see any of them. So it feels like the room's empty, and it's not as intimidating as actually sometimes a stage like this, where I can look you all in the eye.
I am way more intimidated seeing all your faces than I've ever been on stage. So, yeah, okay. So I guess I'll discuss ACWS. So it's a very, very similar rule set, but what sets ACWS apart is 2 different things. So, oh god, Anime Cosplay World Stars, and the finals are in Bulgaria, which is a beautiful country. So the 2 things that set it apart are the runtime. You can do skits that are 5 to 8 minutes long, whereas most cosplay skits are limited to 1 to 2.5 minutes. Another cool thing is that with the World Cosplay Summit, it can be quite limiting on what you can cosplay because it's mostly anime, but it is only anime and manga. With ACWS, it's pretty much anything goes. Yeah. But it's beyond that with ACWS, because if it's renowned fan artists or fan works or unofficial works, they will make allowances for that, and it's a contest that has a lot more freedom. And part of that is because it is a new contest, it's trying things out, and it has the ability to be a bit more experimental in its early years. So that's the reason why you'd want to enter something like ACWS if you wanted a bit more freedom and do a bit of a longer skit.
So I will talk about WCS, which is the World Cosplay Summit, which is, I think, one of the really good ones that you must attend to and try your best to get there. It's basically a competition happening in Japan, Nagoya. It's for how many days? It's happening for a week, and the competition doesn't start straight away. So once you're in Japan, it actually takes a couple of days. There's a lot of preparation, so you have a lot of time to prepare before the competition starts. And you actually even travel to different destinations to see Japan, do some cool activities before the competition. So for me, I was super nervous when I got there, but because it takes a long time before the competition starts, you have a lot of time to prepare. You kind of sort yourself out, and when the competition starts, you're already not as nervous because you have been already there for 3 days there, and you're already ready. And the competition itself, it's like you get, so it's a 50% marks. So you get 50% for the performance and 50% for the costume. So, oh yeah, and like Minnie said, it should be Japanese as well. So yeah, it's only should be related to the like Japanese content and made like basically in Japan. There's also some. What's difficult about this competition? There's a lot of like copyright things. For example, when you making performance for there, the music should be copyright free, right? And all the content on the stage should be copyright free. So when you make the performance, it was a real challenge because especially in Latvia, we can just use whatever we find, like a YouTube music, whatever music, right? There was like, but in Japan it should be all like a copyright free. So you need to get like a license and stuff, but there's a lot of resources. But yeah, it was really hard to prepare the performance for Japanese because of all the rules that apply to this competition. But anyways, it was amazing. You want to add something? Yeah.
So I'll talk about TOC. It's the Tournament of Champions. I actually never been there, but I've been in the Crown Championship, and it has a similar vibe to it. So basically, if you don't like to do performances, that's fine too. But you really love to like make your costumes, like you're into craftsmanship, and like you like to add tons of details into your costume. This is the competition for you, because you only need to do just a catwalk. It's just showing off your costumes on a stage for the audience. But here, you really, really need to think about what you're making. Like your costume has to show off variety of techniques, maybe something innovative, like anything like crazy. It's like super detailed costumes, because like the judges will nitpick every single costume. It's just like an option for, because like most of the like competition that they talk about, it's 50-50 or like the 60-40%, like more about the performances aspect. But if you just enjoy the costumes, this is for you.
So a question that I wanted to answer from the FAQ was, are you ever too old to start? And I honestly think no. Like, the judging criteria is the criteria no matter what. And as long as you're fulfilling that criteria, you make an awesome skit and you knock it out of the park with your costume, there's no reason why they wouldn't accept you. And just to, I know it's like seen as like a very young person hobby, but there's characters in fiction of all age groups. If you don't feel comfortable, let's hypothetically 80-year-old entering as Sasuke Uchiha, very valid to do so, but there's, sure. Very valid to do so, but if you don't feel comfortable doing that, there are plenty of options that they can choose from. And we have like friends who started competing internationally in their late 40s and have done very well for themselves, like Silver Linings from Canada. So you're never too old. I don't think so.
Just very quick case in point to that. 2 weekends ago, I was at Fantasy Basel, and we selected like the best in show. First place for the Swiss cosplay contest was a 65-year-old dad who cosplayed Ganondorf. And now he gets a free trip to America to Holiday Matsuri, which is like a crazy, awesome cosplay con in Orlando. So he gets to go to Disney World, and he's 65 years old. Yeah, so.
I would like to also add, like in WCS, there was competitors. I don't remember which country, but it was a couple as well, and they were like 45-year-old, and they were the... Oh, it is the same, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's what it was. I'm just going to add that they were having the time of their life. Yeah. They were just super happy to be there.
So, we can ask a question.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to answer the question that was floating there for a while, the dance performance one, which is how do you feel about dance performance in competition without the dialogue? I mean, for personally, like I love it. Plus, you can tell the story with dances, with using different music, different mood. It's very popular in Latvia. We actually have more like dance competitions that tell the story than actual like performances. We even have like separate category for like a dance cosplay like performance thingy. So yeah, personally, like I really love it. I love to see all the dances on the stages, and especially love it when it tells a story. For example, there's nothing like as exciting as like a like somebody goes on a stage, you set up the mood like there's some effects on a screen, like something shiny and stuff, and then the music starts and the person starts like beautifully dance, and it also like tells a story. It's like I also love when there's like a different songs included. For example, there's one starts, tells one story, then like goes to another one. I mean, you can show much with dance performances. So yeah, I would probably give a thumbs up for it.
So the question was, if you take a costume and it wins a contest, would you take it to a bigger contest?
So there are written rules and there are unwritten rules.
It's back. Yeah, read it.
It's back. Yay. Do you have to make a whole new costume when you won and you want to compete in a bigger competition, or can you use the same one? Generally, it's considered acceptable to move up in competitions. So if you've won a small contest and then you want to go to a bigger one with that same costume, it's generally considered okay, as long as the rules of that contest allow it. But if it was the other way around, say you made a costume for an international, and maybe you didn't even place, then I generally wouldn't say go to your tiny neighboring convention and enter your international costume in that convention. It's about reading the room and understanding where you belong in that situation and which stage is meant for you.
So yesterday you said something interesting about that, where it's like taking lunch money off kids if you enter a local contest with a...
Oh yeah, it's like the comment I gave is like, imagine you're like a world famous cosplayer, like you just win everything, and then you join this like a little tiny like a competition, that like with almost no prizes. I don't know, you get like a puzzle, like some small game, like as a first place, and then you go there. There's like a bunch of kids enjoying their time, and you show up with your like I don't know, like a amazing Warhammer like armor and stuff. Obviously, you're gonna win first place, and you're just basically taking like the candy from the kids. They're like, all right, I guess I'll just go home.
Like Usain Bolt, like winning a children's sports day is just probably not cool.
I just want to quickly answer a question that's been up there for a while, which is what content should be included in a cosplay build book? So, and what is required? So each competition has different requirements. Some do want you to bring a build book. Some, it's more of an unspoken thing. I think we saw build books for almost every entry yesterday during your competition, but we were told that it was not mandatory. But you can tell that the culture is so that everybody, brings a build book, because it is helpful. It really helps us judges to see where you started and what your pieces look like in the beginning stages. It reinforces for us that you put a lot of effort into your costume. So for a build book, it does not have to be fancy. It could just be photos that you took on your phone during making of the costume. Make it into a collage using one of many, many free collage makers on the internet. And you don't even have to put that much writing in there, because we want to hear from you. We want to hear you speak about and explain the costume, but we want the illustrative pictures. And my one suggestion is that you lay out your pictures in the order that you're going to talk about your costume. So if you're going to talk about your wig first, make the wig the first part of your build book, think about it, so that we can just flip through and we don't have to look for every single piece, because that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Just to add on the build books front, the reason it's really worth showing up with a build book is when you go to pre-judging, you are usually limited to 5 to 10 minutes with a judge to present often months, sometimes years of work. Your build book gives you more time because the judges keep that and they will look through it later.
We did.
So the question I want to answer is, have you ever had a burnout syndrome because of competition? And is there any way that you can get yourself motivated back again? So in 2020, I want to say the end of 2022, was that when we did C4?
No, C4 finals.
Yeah, so the end of 2024, we had a contest scheduled, and it was the World Finals for a contest that doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, Clara Cow's Cosplay Cup. It was an amazing event. And we've been prepping for this contest for a very long time, but there was still the pandemic hit. So we had basically we were working on this costume. It must have been for three going on 4 years, that kind of thing. And then another opportunity came up for another contest in Saudi Arabia, which we immediately took. But because of that we had a lot of projects going on as well and our day-to-day lives, and we didn't necessarily... We say yes to all the opportunities because you never know when they're going to stop, and you do have to take all the experiences that you can. Sure. And because of that, I ended up breaking my hand during practice. So if you can imagine that you're already stressed to the brim and then all of a sudden you can't put your shirt on without pain, it was really, really hard to deal with. But we pulled through. It was very hard, but we pulled through, and we ended up winning the finals of C4 in the end. So it was very much worth it. And I feel like the only way you really get burned out is if you put in so much effort but don't get what you want back from it. You have to find a way of rewarding yourself and to just appreciate all of these opportunities that you do get.
Okay, so we only have 10 minutes left, and in my original panel, there was a topic I wanted to talk about, and I see in all your questions, you are hoping that we judges will tell you what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And the thing is, with competitions, everyone is different, and you won't know what to do until you do it. Do you know what I mean? You really have to enter not just one, but a couple of competitions to understand what works for you, what you can overcome, and also what the judging process is like, because we are not scary people, okay? We are your biggest cheerleaders. We really are. We want everybody to have a successful and enjoyable competition experience. We all want you to succeed. We want everything that you worked hard for to work on stage. And I think that's why I want to talk about the topic of etiquette when asking judges for feedback. Because last year I was here at Animefest, and as soon as we announced the winners, we were still in the rotunda, seated. Competitors would come and ask us for feedback, and they would ask us individually. And they would ask us when we are walking to the bathroom, and when we're trying to take a photo with somebody. And it just sort of made me realize that you have a very passionate community here, and that as a competitor, you feel like you need to know from the judges what you did wrong and what you could improve on. And I just want us to sort of comment on that a little bit, if you guys have something to say about what do I guess I should say, my suggestion is to not accost judges individually, because we make decisions as a panel together. So if you come to me and ask, what did I do wrong? And then you go to Gnomes and ask, what did I do wrong? And then you go to Minnie, you're going to get the same answer. So you're going to hear 5 times what you did wrong, and that sucks, okay? So it's much better for a convention to organize a feedback session on the last day, or for the judges to write a feedback, like a blurb with their impressions of your costume, and for that to be emailed to you as a competitor after the convention, when you've had time to sort of process what you did and, think about what you could have improved on by yourself. So this is what we agreed to do yesterday. So if you competed in the Animefest International Contest, we have written a feedback for you, each of you, all the 22 contestants who entered, and that will be emailed to you by the organization. So today, I hope that whatever the outcome is, whether you won or you lost, please don't come to each of us individually and say, what did I do wrong? Because for the most part, you didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. the level was so high that none of you have, did anything wrong here. Speak on that.
I don't have to say. So for me, I see feedback as, so every time someone asks me for feedback, and you can see that they're getting defensive. So if they say, give me feedback on this prop, and I say, well, I think you could have done this better, you could have done that better, and then they'll say something to the effect of, well, I did it because of this and that. And if you're asking me what I think of it, and you've already given me a build book explaining how you've made it, I know why you've done it. I know why you've done it. So every judge has a different idea of what they think is great, and that's why you have a multiple panel, because, we bicker, we have... Awesome. We bicker, we have differences of opinion. So treat all the feedback from judges like a buffet of options, because sometimes we're not right. Sometimes, judges aren't all created equal. And we all have different opinions, even if we are, right? So just treat it all like a buffet of options. Take what you think is useful and discard what isn't. And if you're seeing a consistent trend, that's probably the thing that you need to work on.
Cosplay is subjective. Cosplay is an art form. Everyone will look at cosplays in different ways. When you get to, particularly an international room, the quality is so high that it's nitpicking between them, and one judging panel could make a different decision on the day. And you can often look at the list of people there and think any one of 10 people could have taken the award and been completely justified. And that can be difficult to handle, but it also means, well, if you take your costume to a different contest and a different set of judges and a different set of contestants, you never know what's going to happen.
Yep. So do you want to have anything to speak on that?
So, you pretty much...
I'll finish off.
Got almost all the points, but I just want to add up. There is no recipe to win the competition. It's all about who shows up at that specific competition. You're getting judged basically amongst yourselves. So just do your best and have fun. This is the most important one. You need to have fun. You need to love your cosplay. You shouldn't suffer. And remember, you have deadline. So never conquench, especially the competition. I've been there, and it's a nightmare, especially when you want to enjoy the convention, but you have to sit in the hotel and finish your costume. It's I hate it so much. I've learned my lesson, so now I try to do a list of things day by day, what I need to do, and so I stay well timed. I know that I'll give myself also a week in advance before the conventions. So I finish my costumes in advance. So if I need to add some extra details, I'll do in this last week. Just small fixing issues, maybe some attachments, just simple small things that just gonna adjust.
So before we move on to you very quickly, because something you just said about making sure it's fun. There's a song from Dragon Ball that we always hype ourselves up to called Blizzard, and it's got a line when translated from Japanese to English, which is, when you compete, when you face yourself and win, you never lose. And it's the idea that, just like Goku from Dragon Ball, just get stronger. Goku loses more than he wins, but he always has fun doing it.
I would probably just wanted to add about the con crunch situation. It's when you con crunch and then you go to the pre-judging, make sure not to mention it. We had so many situations, in different places, that people come and they're like, oh yeah, hi, how are you guys doing? I finished my cosplay 10 minutes ago. Just be careful, the paint is still drying. So make sure you don't mention that to judges, just in case.
Yeah, don't mention your mistakes. Yeah, really emphasize all the good stuff that you've done. I think we are running pretty low on time, and I know we did not get to all the questions. So we will be at the cosplay tables now until, I think we'll be there for an hour until the announcements for the winners at 1 p.m. And hopefully after that, we'll still have a little bit of time. So please come find us if you have more questions that we haven't answered. Just don't accost us for feedback. because that's coming to you in an email, I promise. We worked hard on it. So thank you so much for coming. Really, yeah, we stayed up till midnight writing feedback for all 22 contestants. So we appreciate you guys, and we will see you around. Thank you.
Thanks so much.